sound system cut out. Yeah, we might be able to see them when it narrows down.
Plus que ce qu'il y a derrière.
Oh là là.
Là, j'ai commencé à courir, et vous voyez, il a 1 km de là devant. Ah, c'est vraiment
Poi ti prachirati na původní datum.
equality, desire, and no small amount of passion. That's the sentiment I want to share with you today. It's obvious, marching with all of you, how much passion we have. Now, because I'm up here speaking about the Save movement, I'm sure a lot of you would expect that I'm going to say the Save movement is the best form of activism, it is the most effective, and that everyone should go to a vigil. And whilst I do think that everyone here, and all the vegans and all the non-vegans across the world should go to a vigil, I'm not going to say that it's the best form of activism, because the strongest form of activism we have is unity. And together we are so much stronger, and every form of activism complements another. We need the hunt sabs out there, giving those hunters hell. We need activists on the street, like Anonymous. And the Earthwoman's experience. We need direct action. We need Sea Shepherd out on our ocean. And we sure as hell need activists outside every slaughterhouse in this country. So whatever form of activism you do something. And if anyone here hasn't heard of the Save movement and what we do as activists, I'm going to very, very quickly tell you. We have local groups all across the world, over 170 now. It started in Toronto. In December 2010, and since that one small group in Canada, it has jumped across ocean and ocean, and it started in the UK last February in 2016. From a small group in Manchester with Manchester Pig Save, we now have, Manchester! We are now 45 groups strong, all the way from Aberdeenshire down to Dorset and Devon. We span the whole country. These groups of activists stand outside slaughterhouses and bear witness to the animals coming to their death. We approach the trucks, giving them water. We take photographs, we record videos, and we share it far and wide, and we make sure that everyone is aware of the victim, those ones that have forgotten, the animals on the way to slaughter. And it is spread far and wide on social media. And it has affected many non-vegans and has enabled many vegans to become active and join us. So if you've never been to a vigil, please come and find your local group. We have a Facebook page, Save Movement UK and Europe. If you go to it, you'll be able to see where your local group is, and now there should be one within an hour from you, which isn't that far. Now we have some amazing activists who are going to be speaking after me. We have Anonymous, we've got Unoffensive Animal, and please support them. There are so many more, I'm not going to list them all, but please support them. We all have our cause, and we're all united in the fact that while we march today, millions of animals were slaughtered across the world. And while I'm speaking now, millions more animals are being slaughtered. And we are united by our common cause to stop this. So as you remember all the animals that are being slaughtered, I only have one question for you. Will you fight for them?
Thank you so much, Rihanna. I think it's so important that we bear witness and we come face to face with the suffering of the animals that we claim to love and care about, because it builds up conviction in us and it builds up that drive in us to fight and do more. So the next person we've got speaking is Jordan. Where is Jordan? Jordan. Is he coming? Here he comes. Jordan, Jordan, Jordan. Here he comes. Those luscious blonde locks. So give it up for Jordan and Georgia, please.
What an honour it is to have marched alongside all of you today. Each and every one of you are incredible and so powerful. Jesus, okay, this is crazy. Let's give it up for the animals quickly right now. Okay, so as for us, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Georgia. Together we run Heartcure Clothing. We also are part of Sheffield Animal Save. And this year we're hoping to launch Heartcure Collective, which is a vegan social centre. This centre we hope will unite activists and vegans to inspire daily change and also provide resources for the local community to find out more about veganism. We went vegan about 2.5 years ago, and I'm sure as many of you will know, you go through so many emotions when you first go vegan. Guilt, anger, frustration, and for us, most of all we felt fear. We were terrified that things would continue the way they are, that people would continue to be complicit in the suffering of animals, just as we had for so long. And that's when we went to our first save, and we looked these animals in the eyes as they were on the way to slaughter, and we said sorry. And it was at that point we knew what needed to be done.
This industry thrives on secrets. They're all behind walls and we need to expose them. As activists, we need to come together and show the fear in these animals' eyes as they're on the way to slaughter and help expose the truth of the meat and dairy industry. Now we all dream of a vegan world, a land where all cages are empty. And we think about this every day. And the quickest way to achieve this is through activism. Go to a save, flyer, do an Earthlings experience, okay? It was activism that turned us vegan, and we can only hope that ours inspires others too. And you're not alone in this either. We can all stand together for those who can't speak. And let this be the start of a revolution. Raise your fists in the air for me right now. For the animals in a cage, in a lab, on the way to slaughter, or alone in the dark. We can and we will fight to end their suffering. Thank you very much. Scream for me, London!
Thank you so much, John and George. I thought that was really moving. Okay, so up next we have Unoffensive Animal. So without further ado, thank you.
Hello. Hi. So I'm just going to introduce Unoffensive Animal, as many of you may not be aware of who we are. We're an anarcho-vegan collective. We work for animal liberation, defense of the earth, and solidarity with activists. I'd like to start off by by saying we cannot express how amazed we are at the growth of the movement since the last Animal Rights March. The amount of new grassroots groups and organisations that's been popping up all over the UK has been inspiring. We would like to give a massive shout out to all of the groups taking part in the revolution, whether that's through bearing witness with the Save movement, Hunt Sabotage, campaigning on the computer, collecting data in media, doing outreach in your local town centre. You're all doing amazing work and it's so important and vital to the movement. We would also like to give a shout out to those who, out of love and compassion, put on a mask and go out there to save animals.
Wow. So this is what 5,000 people who give a damn looks like, hey? Wow, that was an amazing speech, Ed. I can remember last year's march when Ed did his speech. I watched it online and it gave me chills. It gave me chills because I could see the pain in his eyes. It gave me chills because I could feel the strength, the courage, and the conviction in his voice. And now this year I have a chance to join you all and stand up here beside Ed as a display of unity. Today we put our differences aside and we join together for one struggle. Today we marched arm in arm for the most noble cause. We marched for the most enslaved, oppressed, and victimised group of beings on earth ever. The animals. The animals are so defenceless and so vulnerable like children. The animals have trusted us and we have betrayed them. Humans have betrayed their trust and have systematically tortured and murdered these innocent childlike beings for something as trivial as a sandwich. Sometimes I feel ashamed to be called a human being, to stand upright. But then I look around at this sea of strong, courageous activists and it makes me so proud. So proud and so positive. I see the masses taking veganism seriously and it gives me hope. Hope and motivation that what we are doing is working. Yes, the animals are innocent. Yes, they have done nothing wrong to deserve the horrific abuse and torture humans inflict on them every second of every day. But we as activists are their defenders, and we must stand together worldwide from across countries to support each other. Today we stood together for the plight of animals. We stand together in solidarity for animal liberation, and we'll march into the streets and make sure our voices are heard. For every single time we turned a blind eye to their suffering, we owe them. For every single time we participated in their murder, we owe them. Being an activist is the very least we owe them. You know, when Ed and Luna brought out their animal rights film, Land of Hope and Glory, I watched it and I wept. I weep because I felt helpless. I weep because I could feel their suffering like it was my own and I couldn't stop it. But it was in that moment of helplessness that I realised I can do something. We can do something. We are doing something and we are not helpless. We can stop this. And by channeling all that emotion into our activism, mark my words, we will stop this. We must work tirelessly as activists towards a vegan world. We can never have peace until the animals have peace. We can never give up, no matter what. When it comes to being an activist, we have to be brave. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build on and work on. It's something that comes from gradually stepping outside of your comfort zone and speaking out against injustice. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Today we march together for animal liberation. We march together for the plight of animals. those who can't march for themselves. We shout loud our truth for those who can't speak for themselves. And we'll stand up and fight for those who can't defend themselves. Never underestimate the power of a fearless, dedicated group of activists. This is the power we have when activists unite, and we won't stop until we have total animal liberation. Never give up. Thank you.
Hi. I would just like to say a massive thank you to Ed and Luna for not only holding this march, but they are the reason why I'm here today. I saw Ed's speech last year, the one that he did at the march, and it was instantaneous for me. It's not enough to not eat them and not wear them. We have to use our voices. And activism is so rewarding because not only do you not contribute towards it, but you are striving to prevent it from happening. I still have them days where I feel hopeless, and that is exactly why I wrote this. And it's just a poem, just expressing my passion for this. It breaks my heart, no exaggeration, to see the way that we treat animals as a world, as a nation. It is your duty, your obligation to go vegan. This has to stop. No negotiations. Or this world will not experience future generations. Vegans are pushy and use intimidation, but we do our best to hold back frustration. Sometimes it is desperation. Slit throats, castrations and mutilations. This has existed before every movement, the whole duration. All aboard the train of death, the slaughterhouse is the next station. Is this how we treat God's beautiful creations? Their life is more important than your temptation. Join this movement, let's get information. The cracks are building in your excuses, foundations. Freedom is not a privilege, it is a birthright. Not only intended for humans, so let's just recite. Thou shalt not kill! But that's the wrong part to highlight. No, I will flick the switch on and I will leave it under the spotlight. Because as long as you don't have to witness it, it stays out of sight. Sometimes I can't hold my tongue and exercise being polite. Because thou shalt not kill applies to animals too. Or is it because they are deemed less important than you? Says who? The animal's time has come, it is long overdue. I am not talking about only a few. Over 50 billion animals are murdered every year. Injustice and death suffocate our world's atmosphere. Imagine living in constant fear. This cannot be justified any longer. Veganism and animal rights are growing stronger, but the fight is still ongoing. We are here to portray what the media's not showing, taking advantage of the unknowing. The blood in your cup is overflowing. Now it has spilled and tainted your hands red, with the blood of 1,000 innocent beings now dead. All for a piece of flesh to put in between your bread, and we have the audacity to claim that's why they are bred. Let's flip the table over and put yourself in their position. Kept in unnatural, disgusting conditions, all for someone to claim it's tradition. Oh, you wouldn't mind? I have my suspicions. Because if it were you, you would scream to be free. So I will never be quiet, as we all possess the key to unlock their cage. Just don't buy it anymore. Because believe it or not, we are not omnivores. Let's put it another way. Our body is able to digest processed foods, but that does not mean that it is natural to do. They are both detrimental to our health, that's a fact and it's true. I dare you to enter a slaughterhouse or animal laboratory. Oh wait, you can't. It's illegal due to the authorities because that is their territory to inflict suffering and pain in all its glory. But every animal in there has a story. Oh, but you should respect my right to consume animal products. It's my choice. Not when your food had a voice. Not when there's a victim on the other end of your knife. And I am alive. Justification 3 is that they've had a good life. But that's not good enough. You think you've had it tough? You think you've had it rough? You are free. And as far as they can see, they never will be. Let me introduce you to my king. His name is Gary Yourofsky. Watch his content with an open mind, and I guarantee you will agree that this is not the way that we are meant to be.
polluting our waters and cutting down our trees. Open your hearts and practice the action of mercy. We need to respect animals, natures and seas. So let my voice pound like the beat of a drum over a world who happily remains silent and dumb. Let my words echo honesty and truth. Speak up for them like you'd want if it was you, because apparently equality for all is hard to construe. While their babies are snatched and their throats are cut through, their eyes injected with burning chemicals, all for a new shampoo. Standing at the top of this world, and it is a tragic view. Animals trapped in a prison disguised as a zoo, except the only crime that they have ever committed was being born. One day the sun will rise over dawn, over a vegan planet! Thank you.
Right, so that was amazing, wasn't it? We have a very special guest now. Possibly one of the best activists we have here in London. No, definitely the best activist we have in London, I think. So please, will you give it up? Ayana. Honestly, for Ayana!
He could smell the blood, he could hear the screams, he knew what was coming. He was desperate to escape. He had to run, but all his attempts failed. The monsters were coming for him. He was hit, he was shouted at, he was poked until he moved forward. But he didn't want to move. He didn't want to die. Today, millions of animals will die in the name of human greed. Every single one fights for their life. Every single one doesn't want to die. Whether it be for food, fun, sport, tradition, entertainment, culture, cosmetics, research, medicine, buildings or business, none of these is a valid excuse for animal abuse. All are simply evil. Not only that, but animal agriculture is causing 51% of greenhouse gases, ocean dead zones, forest degradation and species extinction, all of which is destroying the planet. By the year 2050, 1/3 of species will be extinct. The Earth can't wait for us, we have to change now. Because I love animals, it is that simple. You can never be an animal lover if you are not vegan. Becoming vegan is not extreme. Murdering and consuming flesh is the most extreme. Vegan is the future. Become part of the change and help save these creatures. When you open your mind and see the fear in their eyes, you know it is your duty to be their voice and to stand up for their lives as you would hope others would fight for you. When you purchase flesh, when you buy products that are tested on animals, when you wear fur, when you go to an animal circus or zoo, you are supporting the torture of innocent beings and breaching their right to freedom. You are helping to exploit them and are utterly disrespecting these sentient beings. You are being ignorant to their pain and broken hearts. Stop contributing to the cruelty. Don't support abuse, because animals feel just like humans. They are no less than us and deserve respect. Show compassion. Go vegan!
Wow, thank you so much, Ayana. So that brings us to the end of the march today. I'm going to say, well, Luna and I want to say a big thank you again to every single one of you that came today. It really means so much to us. And it's an absolute privilege to see how much the march has grown and how many more vegans and activists we have in the past year since the march this time last year. So thank you so much for that. That really is incredible. You should be proud of yourselves. excited to announce that the march next year will be on August the 18th. We moved it a couple of weeks earlier so that it doesn't conflict with any of the sabbing or the badgicles, so it's going to be August 18th next year. So just as you leave, can we please remind everyone to pick up their rubbish and not leave anything behind? Not that I need to tell you that anyway, you would anyway, of course, you're vegans. If not, we'll see you on the street.
I'm gone, BRB.